Okay, so today I am going to show you how to make a plasticine modeling clay Pterandon or Pterosaurus or Pterodactyl. It's got a lot of names. We're going to make one of these, okay? So you don't need much. You just need your plasticine. You need some toothpicks, a little bit of white, and a piece of plasticine. So we're going to start by making the legs. So I'm going to just cut off a little piece here at the end. I don't even need that much. And I'm going to cut 2 squares. It's going to be cut into 3. I'm only going to use 2 of them though, so I can put that one back. These are going to be my legs. So I need to roll them into a cylinder. So the best way to do that is just use your fingers and roll back and forth. Now what you'll notice is they start to get tall and skinny. We don't want them tall and skinny. The best way to fix that is to put it down and just squish down. Okay, so I just squish them, kind of roll a little bit, but squish it down because you do not want them to be tall or your Pterandon will fall over. So it's about that tall, like the size of my thumbnail. So I'm gonna do the same with this one. It is important that both your legs are about the same size. So you can see there, mine are about the same size. I can use my toothpick now. I can just gently roll it back and forth like that. And that gives me kind of a bit of a foot that I'm going to pinch out into the claws. Okay, so I just pinch, a lot of pinching with plasticine. So I'm just going to roll this back and forth a little bit. And then I'm going to pinch, stick them down, get them kind of stuck on the ground and stuck to each other. So they'll look like this. Okay, now I'm going to take a chunk about that big. It's about 1/4. And I'm going to roll this into the body. So remember, plasticine, the more you work with it, the softer you get. So sometimes you have to go back and forth with your hands a bit to get it soft enough. So once it's kind of in a ball-ish shape, we can do the same thing. We want to make it a little bit kind of like the shape of a tin can. So kind of a cylinder shape. Roll it a little bit more. Okay. There we go. So that's about a good shape. Okay, so I'm going to stick it onto my feet. Now here's the important part. When you stick it onto the feet, you can't just stick it on like that. If you just stick it on, the feet will, I promise you, fall off. So you're going to stick them on. Then you're going to take your finger and you're going to smear. So smearing is just pushing up to actually connect them. I'm going to go all the way around. And just don't press too hard because then you'll take like half the foot with you. Just gently smear your feet on. And see, now they don't pop off. So there is his body. Next I'm going to do his head. So I'm going to take that 3rd piece that I had. I'm going to make that into a neck. Same thing, you just want a really wide cylinder. So I roll it, too skinny, flatten it down. Okay, so it's going to be about the same size as the feet. I'm going to stick that on the top, do the same thing. I'm going to smear it down. Smearing connects them, kind of like when we were doing the pottery, how we had to use slip. We're going to do that. Make sure while you're doing it, it also stays balanced so it stands up. Starts tipping over, you got to kind of pinch it around until it stays. Okay, and take another skinny piece like this, not too big at all. It's going to be the tail. They don't have super big tails, but it will help give it a little bit of balance. So actually I'm going to use half of this. I'm going to roll it. Now the best way to make a tail shape is when you're making your cylinder and you're rolling it out, press harder on one side. See how my hand is kind of tilted? So I'm going to press harder on one side than the other, and it gives me this tail shape. I don't even need it that long, so I can pinch a little bit off. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to stick it on the very back, on the bottom, and I'm going to smear. You want to kind of angle it so it goes down on the ground. This just gives it a little better balance. So this is what it looks like from the side. Okay, it kind of comes out the bottom and is smeared on, and just it almost acts like a 3rd leg to just help hold him up. Okay, I'm going to make the head next. So the Pterandon head does have the crest. So I'm going to take a little piece about that big. Oh, there's my kitty Hattie. Hi, Hattie. Bye, Hattie. What's this? Hattie? So I'm going to squish that and I'm going to make it into a ball. I can roll it on 2 hands, or I can roll it around and around and around. Oops. On the table. Okay, just until I have kind of a ball shape. Make sure it's not too big of a head. Like, that's probably a little big, but I'm going to be pinching to make the crest, the big thing sticking out the back of his head. So for that, I'm just going to start pinching. Pinch, but don't do just little pinches like that. You need to kind of do a big pinch and get it so you've got that pointed shape. Just pinching, kind of smearing a bit to smooth it, and get that crest shape coming out the back. And I also need the beak, so we're going to do the same thing on the front. We're just going to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to pinch, 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 pinch. Don't flatten your pinches like that, otherwise you'll have like a weird flat beak. So you just want to kind of pinch equally on both sides, going up and down, sideways, up and down, sideways. Kind of rotate back and forth. That keeps you from getting the like flat. Okay, so he's got his crest and he's got his beak. Pretty cute. You want to make a little space for the eyes. Just roll this kind of back and forth. That'll give you a space where you can put the eyes in afterwards. Next thing is to connect it to the head, or to the neck. So you're going to stick it on the neck and you're going to smear. So I'm going to just smear it down. You can go all the way from the head down to the body. Just kind of be careful of your beak that you don't wreck it. Turn it around. Make sure you smear on all sides. You shouldn't be able to see a line of where you added anything. Okay, so if you just gently smear it down, it makes it so it's not going to pop off. Do a little bit of reshaping, because sometimes they get a little weird. So there is his body. Looking pretty cool. Next part is the wings. So I'm going to take what I have left. I'm going to cut 2 arm pieces, about that big. And then this is going to be what I make my wings out of. So for the arms, that's where the toothpicks are going to come in. You've already kind of got a good arm shape here, but we don't want those weird lines. So we're going to roll it just a little bit. Roll it out. Now if it starts getting really skinny in the middle, that means you're pressing too hard in one spot. Got to fold them back together and try again. So try to, if it might be easier to use your palms to get kind of an equal one. Now if they're starting to look real long, just cut it off. It should be about that thing. So like, it's like your ring finger. Maybe as long as your fingers, all right? So it's going to be this long. Now what we're going to do so that this actually stays a little bit stronger, because once we add the wings, that's not going to stay very well. I'm going to take a toothpick and I'm going to poke it down the middle. But I'm going to leave about that much hanging out the side and the end, okay? So poke it down the middle. You still want quite a bit, not a teeny bit, about a third still left, because that's going to go into our dinosaur to hold it on. If the arms are looking a little long, you can just always pull off at the end. But make sure your toothpick isn't sticking out this end too. It's only going to stick out one side. I'm going to do the same thing again. I want to make sure my arms are about the same size. So there we go. Okay, so it's too long. Just going to pinch it off and then pinch that back together. Make sure they aren't too skinny or the toothpicks won't go through. Take my toothpick, stick it in. Now if your toothpick starts to poke out the side, it's a really easy fix. Just pinch the clay around it. Okay, so I have about, again, that much hanging out. It'll just help us connect it so they don't fall off. But we're not going to do that. That's the last step. Okay, so I got my 2 arms. Now I got to make my wings. So I'm going to take all my plasticine I have left, and I am going to make a flat pancake. Kind of the way we made it for our Plate of the Worlds, but even thinner. So my first step is just to roll it into a ball. And then I'm going to place it down, and I'm going to use my palm and the heel of my hand to just squish it out. and then pick it up. You can also pinch your fingers, just kind of pull it apart so it gets thin. You want it to be skinny. Like that is still way too thick. So pinch it out, stretch it out on the paper. I find it easiest to do in my hands, to be honest, than on the paper or on the table. So I just pinch it out. I don't want it to be so skinny that it's coming apart. If it gets too flat, you get holes. So don't make it too flat, but just flatten it out into a pancake. So I got my pancake. Okay, see, it's pretty thin there. Hi, Hattie. I'm gonna stick my arm on like this. I'm gonna press it down, smear there so it's attached really strongly. Then from the edge to down here, I'm gonna cut. And I'm gonna make I didn't quite cut hard enough. There we go. So you can see I've got a triangle attached. If it's a little bit longer here too, trim it off. Just so you have a nice triangle shape attached like that. You can go to the top and make sure it's really attached well. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. I'll look at this to make sure I make it about the same size. Stick this on. And I'm gonna go. Oop. Got another one. Smear it on the back of the arm. Don't try to smear it here, it just won't work. Just do it on the back, it's a lot easier. Okay, so I did this one wrong. I have to do it so the stick is on this side. There we go. So make sure you have two opposite ones, like that. There we go. See, it was an easy fix though. We all make mistakes and we learn from them. Okay, this is the cool part. So you are going to stick the arm, the toothpick, into his body. Okay, and then just pull this plasticine down and attach it to the side like that. If it rips a little bit, that's okay. Just pinch it back together. Plasticine is pretty good at, you're able to use it, work it a lot. It doesn't dry out. So I'm gonna smear the arm on. I'm not gonna smear this on, I'm just gonna press it. It's not really gonna come off. All right. If you need to, if you have a little extra, just rip it off. There we go. It's got one arm. I'm gonna make sure I do the other one about the same place. Stick it on, smear it down, and then stick the wing, and just if I have too much, I can even use my knife, just cut it off here. Just gently kind of attach it on. All right, you got your pterosaur there. The last step is the eyes. So if you're using a dark plastine, you want to wash your hands. The eyes should pretty much be the last thing you do. So you can, before you do the eyes, you can go get another color. You can add stripes, you can add polka dots, add any details you want. Remember, we don't know what dinosaurs looked like. So they can be any color, they can have any patterns, because who knows? You get to be a little bit creative. So I'm gonna take two super tiny pinches. Like, look how tiny that is. It's itty bitty. Trust me, if you do them big, he will have weird bug eyes. So I make it a little one. I'm just gonna roll it in between my two fingers, and I'm going to gently press it on. Here, I'll show you what I mean about bug eyes. If I take a piece like this big and I roll it into a ball and I stick it on and then I flatten it down, he's got some weird bug eyes. I don't want weird bug eyes. So little pieces, pretty little. You want to make them about the same size too, and I'm just gonna stick it on, and there we go. Your completed pterosaur. His tail got a little bit. Look how cute that is. Awesome, can't wait to see them all.